Okay, so our lesson today about obtaining and removing materials. Let's revise what we talked today and how this process happened. Okay, so cells rely on the movement on surrounding gases, liquids, and particles to supply them with nutrients and materials. So, for example, Hattan, oxygen and water and particles of food must be
No, it must be to move into a cell.
yes, into a cell, while the waste materials must move
Out.
out the cell. Yes, so oxygen, water, particles of food must be able to move into a cell, while waste materials must move out the cell. Let's see how this movement happen. And what can you see inside the cell membrane?
I can see the carbohydrate chain and the proteins and the lipid molecules.
Yes, and here inside of the cell and here outside of the cell. Function of cell membrane. What is the function of the cell membrane? It acts like the security guard. What does security guard do?
The security guard controls which people can go into or leave a building.
Yes, which people can go into or leave a building. So it's the same like the cell membrane that lets substances in and out. Okay. The movement allowed cell to maintain homeostasis. So when the cell membrane controls which substance will move in and which substances will move out, this led the cell to maintain homeostasis. What is the homeostasis? A stable internal environment. Okay. I'll ask you a question. The cell membrane
Yes.
is rigid or flexible?
The cell membrane is flexible.
Yes, flexible, so it can change according to the needs of the cell. The cell membrane is a permeable membrane. What is permeable? Permeable means,
Can I explain it?
yes, you can.
Okay. The permeable membrane that allows the liquids and gas to pass through it.
Some materials move freely and other less freely. Yes?
Yes.
So it's a selectively permeable. So the cell membrane is a selectively permeable membrane, which means some substances can cross the membrane while others can not. Others can not. Okay, let's go to the other question. How many types of transport that we have?
Two.
Two. We have passive transport and active transport. What is the difference between the passive transport and active transport? Can you explain it?
Yes, the passive transport that the movement of dissoluble materials across a cell membrane can move without using the cell energy, so that calls the passive transport.
Excellent. Requires no energy. Yes, it's like the when you put a ball on a slide. So the ball slides quickly from the top of the slide to the down of the slide without energy, with no energy. Yes? And what
Yes.
about the active transport? It's the opposite. Yes, you can explain.
The active transport that the cell membrane using energy, like when we have a ball and we want to put it up of the slide, like we need to make energy to
Yes,
build it up.
we need to kick it and use from our energy to kick it upward. Yes.
Yes,
So the active energy requires energy.
energy.
Yes. The next slide about diffusion. Diffusion. What is diffusion? Let's see here the picture. Yes, this picture. Diffusion, when materials moves from high concentration to low
Low concentration.
concentration. Yes. So here molecules are always moving. Molecules do what? Collide, causing molecules to push away from each other. We said like you when you clap your hand, when you collide or hit each other, they push away from. So here, when they collide with each other, they move away or move apart from each other and began with low concentration. So again, they move evenly through the space and become less concentrated. Okay, so let's read the definition. Diffusion is the process by which molecules move from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. Here, cell does not require energy, so diffusion is a form of
Passive.
passive passive transport. Osmosis is the movement of materials against the concentration gradient. So here, from high to low. But here, what happens? From low to high. From what to what? From
From low
low
to high.
to high. Yes. So we can here see another picture here. Diffusion, solute, move from high to low concentration. But here, osmosis is the opposite of it. So here, look, there is low concentration, and here, high concentration. Look at the next picture. What happened? The solvent move from the low to the high. The solvent move from the low concentration to the high concentration.
And
Yes? So osmosis
yes.
is diffusion. It's a type of diffusion of water molecules across a selectively permeable membrane. We have here a selectively permeable membrane. This selectively permeable membrane. Because it requires no energy from the cell, osmosis is a form of passive transport. Osmosis. Now let's go to the facilitated diffusion. What is facilitated diffusion? Let's see. Oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water freely diffuse across the cell membrane. Freely diffuse. But can you guess? Sugar with this size can diffuse freely like oxygen and water?
No.
No. So what happened? Protein helps sugar. How it helps sugar? We have facilitated diffusion. Facilitate means make easier. Protein make a channel or pathway for the sugar to diffuse. It's just like the water spouts here that collects water and move it down of the house. Okay? The next one is the active transport. Active transport when the cell need concentration of a molecule inside the cell to be higher than the concentration outside the cell. When you use energy like calcium, potassium, and sodium substances that are carried into and out the cell by active transport. Calcium, potassium, and sodium. So let's here make a summary using this picture. We have passive transport, which is diffusion and osmosis, that the oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water move freely. And also we have facilitated diffusion for sugar, the protein make a channel for it or pathway to enter the cell. Then the other one is the active transport. Active transport, when we need energy for the substances to move in and out of the cell. Okay, active transport, we have two types. We have endocytosis and exocytosis. Let's see here at the picture. Endocytosis engulf extracellular material. So here there are extra material. The endocytosis engulf it and make it part of the cell. Contrary, the exocytosis expel material into the extracellular space. So these materials move outside the cell. So endo, enter, and exo, exit. Here, let's see this video.
Is a way for exocytosis is a way for things to leave the cell, is that it shares the first two letters with exit.
Yes, here these materials leave.
You can also remember that endocytosis is a way for things to move into the cell because it shares the first two letters with enter.
Enter. Okay. So here, cytosis into the cell, changing shape and engulfing the particles, like it engulf the particles and be part of the cell. But exo allows large particles to leave a cell. Let's see here the picture. Here, these materials entering the cell. So the membrane wrap these materials around the particle and drew it into the cytoplasm. But here, large molecules leaving the cell. Also, the vacuole fuse with the membrane in order to push the waste particles out of the cell, and we call it exocytosis.